was the most hapless player to ever step foot on an NBA court? The player who made fans cringe every time he touched the ball? The man who couldn't throw a basketball into the ocean if he was standing on the beach? In this video, we'll look at the fascinating story of the worst player in NBA history. A man who was so legendarily bad that his name has become synonymous with futility. Despite its star-studded history filled with transcendent talents like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the NBA has also seen its fair share of laughably incompetent players over the years. While many lackluster players have come and gone, one man stands above the rest as the undisputed worst of the worst. The mere mention of his name is enough to trigger snickers and facepalms among knowledgeable basketball fans. How did a player so terribly untalented last multiple seasons in the NBA when thousands of more capable players failed to even reach that level? What was it like to be so notoriously awful in a league full of elite athletes? Today we'll take a look at the fascinating story behind the NBA's worst player ever, from his improbable rise to the big leagues to the cringe-worthy on-court blunders that cemented his anti-legacy. No other player has dominated the game quite like he dominated the blooper reel. The improbable rise of Michael Olowokandi. In 1998, the Los Angeles Clippers used the first overall pick in the NBA draft to select Michael Olowokandi, a relatively unknown center from the University of the Pacific. Analysts immediately criticized the Clippers franchise's shocking Olowokandi selection as being a poor choice. However, Olowokandi soon quieted the critics with solid play over his first few NBA seasons, even averaging a double-double in points and rebounds in the 2000-2001 season. It appeared the Clippers may have actually unearthed a gem rather than drafting yet another bust. However, Olowokandi's promising start quickly gave way to subpar play characterized by accidents, fouls, and rapidly deteriorating skills. After his first contract expired in 2003, Olowokandi signed a lucrative deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was there that the illusion of Olowokandi as a capable NBA center was completely obliterated. Game after game, he demonstrated a stunning inability to do even the most fundamental things on a basketball court. The Timberwolves were so eager to part ways with Olowokandi that they paid him $14 million just to leave the team midway through the 2005-2006 season. He would never play another game in the NBA after that. So how did a player as woefully incompetent as Olowokandi manage a 9-year NBA career? His improbable rise serves as a cautionary tale of the folly of drafting for potential rather than proven skill. On-court blunders that live in infamy. Olowokandi's breathtaking lack of skill and basketball IQ manifested itself in humiliating fashion once he took the court. Fans watched in disbelief as he stumbled through basic plays, ruined fast breaks with boneheaded turnovers, blew layups, and committed foolish fouls on an almost nightly basis. No blooper encapsulates Olowokandi's ineptitude more than a 2006 game against the Houston Rockets. On a breakaway dunk, Olowokandi somehow managed to hit the bottom of the backboard with the ball before flinging it wildly across the court. It was the basketball equivalent of missing an uncontested layup. Sports blogs celebrated it as perhaps the worst missed dunk attempt in the history of the league. Of course, the missed dunk was just one of countless cringe-worthy highlights in Olowokandi's reel of shame. There were baseline drives that ended with him falling flat on his back, his feet comically splayed in the air. Horrendous passes were fired directly into the stands, missed defensive assignments that left opponents wide open under the rim. For Olowokandi, humiliating bloopers were the rule rather than the exception. With his breathtaking lack of on-court awareness and coordination, Olowokandi made basketball look infinitely more challenging than it was for his Hall of Fame peers. A legacy of futility. So just how bad of a player was Olowokandi? Let's look at the sobering stats that have cemented his reputation as the worst player in NBA history. Career averages of 8.3 points per game and 6.8 rebounds per game. Pedestrian numbers at best. A pitiful shooting percentage of just 43% from the field is dismal for a big man who scored nearly all his points around the rim. 3.9 fouls per game. Among the highest foul rates ever for an NBA center, never averaged more than 32 minutes a game in any season due to foul trouble and stamina issues. Total win shares of just 18.7 over a 9-year career, meaning he contributed less than 2 wins total with his play. The advanced analytics paint an even more dire picture of Olowokandi's on-court limitations. His box plus minus and player efficiency rating consistently ranked among the worst in the league at his position. Regardless of what stats you look at, Olowokandi grades out as a hopeless liability on the court instead of an asset to his team. Of course, one didn't need numbers to recognize Olowokandi's glaring lack of skill. His awful play leaps off the screen in any video clip. In the decades since he left the NBA, he has been immortalized as the benchmark for futility, against whom all other failing players are measured. No one sees defeat from the jaws of victory quite like the NBA's Candyman. Life after the NBA Olowokandi's time in the NBA ended with a whimper in the mid-2000s. However, that did not stop him from pursuing other avenues within the sport. Most notably, Olowokandi briefly attempted to get into coaching after his playing days. He landed an assistant coaching job at his former college, the University of the Pacific, in 2009. Predictably, the program declined rapidly with Olowokandi on staff, reinforcing the notion that his basketball acumen did not extend much beyond a limited capacity to fill space on the low block. Outside of basketball, Olowokandi pursued higher education in his later years. In a surprising twist, the man derided for his lack of on-court intelligence earned a master's degree in business administration. He even briefly explored a career path in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology startups. Who could have imagined the hapless Kandi man might end up being Dr. Olowokandi, a sports businessman? While Olowokandi never achieved greatness in the NBA, his name still lingers as a cultural touchstone for comically inept athletes. Any player who makes an all-time blunder is liable to be saddled with an unflattering comparison to Olowokandi. And if a team selects a bust in the draft, expect jokes about pulling an Olowokandi. He may not have wanted the notoriety, but his spectacular failures cemented his legacy as the NBA's worst of all time. The legacy of basketball's biggest bust. Michael Olowokandi's mind-boggling lack of skill and court awareness made him the NBA's most ridiculed underachiever and notorious draft bust. Though picked first overall in 1998, he stumbled through nearly a decade of basketball as a lumbering liability on the court. His startling inability to execute fundamentals like dribbling, shooting, and dunking was so bad that Olowokandi is now shorthand for an atrociously untalented basketball player. But as cringeworthy as his playing career was, Olowokandi managed to reinvent himself through tenacious academic pursuits after leaving the NBA. His will to improve and grow past failures are perhaps the only qualities that prevent him from being considered an outright failure in life, despite topping every list as the worst player in league history. While no one will remember him for his non-existent hardwood heroics, his name will live on as a warning for teams overly enamored by potential rather than actual ability. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating story of Michael Olowokandi, statistically the most terribly incompetent basketball player to ever reach the NBA. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.